أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم افتح علينا حكمتك وانشر علينا رحمتك يا ذا الجلال والإكرام لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم وصل اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وسلم ربنا اغفر لنا وارحمنا وأنت خير الراحمين آمين والحمد لله رب العالمين آمين. So inshallah this is part 2 of the divine determining, and Eid Mubarak to everybody. Most of the people are having Eid celebrations or meetings and getting together, family meetings. So we studied this verse, An'am, verse number 59 from chapter An'am, Surah An'am. وعنده مفاتيح الغيب لا يعلمها إلا هو يعلم ما في البر والبحر وما يسقط من ورقة إلا يعلمها ولا حبة في ظلمات إلا في ظلمات الأرض ولا رطب ولا يابس إلا في كتاب مبين. We said something attracted our attention. Last week we studied وعنده مفاتيح الغيب لا يعلمها إلا هو, etc. And the one verse before, to establish the foundations of belief in the divine determining. So what attracted your attention in this verse? As we study the divine determining with the original Arabic word is Qadar, so we usually talk about Allah's, God's decision. Yeah? God decides, God does. Okay, God decides, God does. But what is attracting your attention in this verse? Does it say God decides and does whatever it wants, He wants? God creates anything He wants? What is the emphasis here?
Knowledge.
Knowledge. The importance of it, we may discuss this in a deep, going into deep matters, but it is very important to understand that, to realize that all, look, knows, all knows. Have you noticed? يعلم لا يعلمها إلا يعلمها. Yes. Or God knows what He is doing. God knows. Briefly, if you are not satisfied about it, I will touch upon this subject very briefly, because it has been argued among the, especially Muslim scholars, early scholars. Later scholars forget about it, mostly, but early scholars argued about it. I will touch upon it very briefly. God does, but I will use this expression as contrary to our principles. So first, oh, okay, but I want to see you. So first, clarify one concept. When we say Qadar, when we say divine determining, we usually mean Allah decides and creates it. And who are you? Who doesn't take care of you? Well, who are you? Right? That's the impression we have. But in reality, it is not as it seems to be. God, if we understand the creation, the motion of creation, yes, God creates it, but I'm speaking like it, theologians, I don't like it. So God creates. But what we see from the word, the things are coming into existence, and as if they are coming into existence from, well, where? From nothing? Yeah, so far you could say it, but we have to, develop in our class level now. Now, seems to be from nothing, yes, from nothing, as far as, when we have to be very careful, as far as the conditions of the physical world is concerned. But this is a serious subject, so everybody must be absolutely concentrating on the subject. You know, nothing should distract us, everybody. Look, seems to be from nothing, but from nothing is for us, for the observers, for human beings. From our perspective, today's world existed and knew. That's why we say from nothing. Yeah. That's why we say from nothing. It means God is not in need of anything else, that he is using it, employing it, and creating it. God's act of creation is from scratch. From scratch. It means today is a new creation. A new creation. He didn't use yesterday as building blocks. He said, okay, let me use these materials and make another world. Creation means giving existence to something without using anything, without being in need of anything. When I want to build this building, I need materials because I cannot create. I have to use what is already existing. But in the universe, we see that every moment a new creation is taking place, and this creation, act of creation in quote unquote, is not using the previous materials. Together with the materials, the world has always been reconstructed. We should understand this. As a result of our previous experiences in our memory, it is registered that yesterday existed. Today is quite similar to it, not exactly the same. So we think that, you know, God is changing the shape of something today. For example, let's say a tree is growing. So yesterday tree was, look, this much, this big, and today's tree, this big, this big, this big. As if whoever is changing this world is using the previous materials in order, it seems to be, in order to reconstruct a new act of creation. But in reality, everything, the tree is reconstructed, branches are reconstructed, cells of the body of the tree are reconstructed, atoms in the cells are reconstructed, they are changing too. Particles in the atoms are reconstructed. They are changing too. Creation is not an easy thing. We can never do it. Because we cannot do it, we think that God also, the creator of the universe, also cannot do it. Because we have to use materials. We think that God also is using previous days' materials. We have to refresh our mind. Creation means, in the language of the Quran, is samad. Samad means he gives existence. Whoever is giving existence to this world must be giving existence to the things without being in need of the yesterday's material. There is no, but there is a stranger. We're not expecting you, sir. So, you're cheating us? Okay, good cheating. We are pleased. Okay. He said he wouldn't come, but he came. Cheated. Eid Mubarak, anyway. Okay. Now be careful here. Creation means at the level of this universe, the things are brought into existence without using the previous materials, anything, yesterday's world. That's why we say it in a shortcut language. God, the one who creates the universe, who is called God, God creates from nothing. You're right? As far as our experience is concerned. You've got to be careful, not with the language, everything. You know, if you want to study this, it takes you years, if you can understand. Because it needs really, really background accumulation of information. I'm not saying I'm a great man, but I'm a scholar on anything like this. But it is not an easy subject. And most of the later scholars didn't understand what was going on because they didn't go to the root of the arguments. Because they were concerned with other side of religion. Yeah, rules, behaviors, transactions, you know, the fiqh matters. That's why it has been neglected among the Muslim communities. It is not a superficial thing. It is not a luxury for us. This is the most essential understanding of Tawheed or oneness of God, or understanding God, that God never is in need of the Creator, is in need of anything. How do we know? Look at the creation. You will understand that yesterday's material is not being used. Go deeper and deeper and deeper, subatomic world. Everything you will find that is given existence anew. Now, this sentence we use, God creates out of nothing, is valid for us. But in reality, we understand that the creation is taking place. Now we are coming to a very strategic sentence now in order to understand this verse is saying, according to the knowledge of the Creator. Right? If you like, some of the scholars use this language, whatever exists in this world existed, I'm using past tense, in order to make the subject clear for us. In reality, for the absolute being, there is no past tense, there is no future, nor the present. For us, according to the already existed knowledge. Now, knowledge is not developing as far as our understanding is concerned. This seems to be a difficult subject, but if you are careful, I'm sure you understand them. You are all clever people. You are smart people. Don't think. Those people who may memorize the Quran, may memorize all hadith, may not understand this. But you do. That's, believe me. Because memorizing the religious sources, if you like, disqualifies you to understand it. Because understanding is another process. Wherever you are trained, you have trained yourself, you develop your abilities there. But you understand that it's be very careful. Knowledge of the Creator must be absolute, excellent, absolute. Okay. Power of the Creator must be absolute. How about the act of creation is taking place as far as we see it? Is it absolute? We see it, act of creation, no. Within the universe. Yesterday was another act of creation. Today is another act of creation. Tomorrow, if the Creator wills it so, will be another act of creation. It doesn't mean that His power is limited. His manifestation of the absolute power is taking place within the universe in a limited form. How? For example, how tall are you?
Me?
Yeah.
I think 5'11".
5'11", not 9'11. Good. That's very good. That's safe. So 5'11". Do you think your Creator could have not created you not 5'11", but 6'0"? Could have.
Yes.
Because from the way you are created, you are given existence, you know that the source is absolute. Otherwise, He wouldn't be able to give you existence, right? But His manifestation of power is taking place in a limited form. That is the transformation from the absolute qualities into limited manifested world. That's what we experience. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to experience anything in this world. Now, but we understand that His manifestation of power is taking place according to His knowledge, through His absolute power. Absolute knowledge, absolute power. Now, be careful. At the background of any activity, act of creation, lies what?
Absolute power and knowledge.
Absolute power and knowledge. Now, did you get it? Did you get it? Absolute power and knowledge. That's what we see manifesting itself here. And we conclude that, but power is manifesting itself in a limited form, but we understand that the source of this limited manifestation is absolute. Source of limited manifestation of the power is taking place at the background of absolute knowledge. That is extremely important. If anybody misses this point, no way to understand divine determining. But that is very foundation. So it is coming from absolute knowledge. I'll give you this. Yeah. I'm just repeating and emphasizing. It is coming from an absolute knowledge. Absolute knowledge. That's what God keeps saying, that I know what I am doing. I know what I am doing. أَلَا يَعْلَمُ مَنْ خَلَقَ. Doesn't He, the one who creates, no? How do we know? From the way they are created. We are observing the creation. We understand that whoever is giving existence to creation knows what he's doing, knows the present, past, knows the present, and prepares for the future. Everything is arranged according to an absolute knowledge. Right? Now the question. Would you like to ask as well? A question? Okay, first, this gentleman.
I mean, I'm not too sure what you mean by absolute knowledge, though. When you say, I mean, behind his absolute power is his absolute knowledge. I mean, I don't get it.
You don't get it. Okay. Oh, what is missing then? Of course, you are expected to get it. It means something is wrong with me, with my presentation. Yeah. When you look at it, when you look at the creation, anything, do you understand that in order to be able to give existence to this object, whatever it is, here is a leaf is mentioned in the verse. We can take a leaf from the tree. Do you understand that? Can you conclude that in order to give existence to this leaf, the power must have no limitations? That is absolute infinite. If the power of the maker of the leaf was limited, he wouldn't be able to give existence to the leaf. He wouldn't bring it and he wouldn't bring it into existence, give the leaf an existence without using any material. Everything is new. And all the component parts, you go this way. If you dissect the leaf, the whatever you find, of course, the sub layers you will find, components you will find, components of the components you will find. They are all changing. They are all newly given a new shape, new position. They are all taking place without using any material, and also taking place at the same time. Is not limited to time sequence that first he does this and then the other one. For example, what we do, first we make the bricks. Afterwards, out of bricks, by using bricks, we make the walls. After making the walls, we make the ceiling. It follows a sequence. But in the totality, wholeness of the universe, there is no sequence followed. Everything is given existence at once. And every moment, whatever the minute time scale you can imagine, a new world, universe is given existence with no difficulties at all. Everything is so smoothly existing spontaneously. Do you understand that? Are you following? Spontaneously smooth. So power must be absolute, otherwise it would take limit. It would be limited. Yeah, it would follow like I do. Maybe too fast, but still like I do. Faster, but still like I do. One by one. When I'm speaking what I do, I first use one sentence and then another and then another. And in order to make the sentence, I use one word and then another and then another. And in order to make the word, I use one syllable and then another and then another. Right? I follow. When I am speaking, when I say one sentence, a huge time passes. Yeah, 2 seconds is a huge time. As you compare the smallest time scale, okay, nanosecond. Oh, how many nanoseconds happens? It means millions of millions. happens, right? Actually, we cannot really give it a time to it. Okay, number, no number. So it means the one who is creating must have absolute power. And everything is coming into existence not accidentally, proportionately, in accordance with its environment and everything, with the rest of the universe together. So we understand that whoever is creating the leaf or a cell in the body of the leaf is the one who is creating the X galaxy. They are together. He knows this one, simultaneously knows what is going on at the galactical level, galactical level. And his knowledge must be absolute as well.
But that's where I'm getting confused. I mean, I understand when you talk about absolute power, coming out of nothingness. I mean, you don't need anything.
Not using the materials.
Exactly, you don't need anything. I mean, it could be any point in time. It could just come out. Absolute power, I understand. But then I don't understand how. I mean, the universe is limited, right? So even if you have knowledge about everything in the universe, how can you make that into absolute knowledge?
No, just a minute. We are not looking at the body of the universe at once and saying that this is created by an absolute knowledge. We are looking at the body of the universe, and in connection with the component parts, all of them are different, but being brought into existence at the same time simultaneously. Only before the infinite, the number of the actions does not matter. Only that's human logic. If the source was not absolute, infinite, the number, for example, as the universe gets bigger, must be more difficult to bring into existence. More sophisticated, more difficult. There's no such thing. You don't see that some galaxies are created and another galaxies are waiting to be created. No. At once, everything is created at the same time, simultaneously.
That's still the power. I mean,
Sorry?
That's the power angle.
But I have knowledge as well. Because the things are coming into existence within knowledge. Why? Not accidental things are happening. You know, you may have a huge power, but if you don't know what you are doing, there will be lots of contradictions in them. But not perfect harmony. Why do we study this? If you don't understand this subject, you will never be, whatever you say won't be valid as far as divine determining, understanding the divine determining. We have to understand that divine in order to understand what divine determining is. This universe is everything in the world, including human beings and human actions, are coming into existence within an absolute knowledge. Nothing can escape from this knowledge.
I understand. I mean, when you say that it's coming in at the same time, but then when that I can make the connection to absolute knowledge. But then when you say with ease and less difficulty, I mean, I'm not next to. I mean, I don't know whether it's difficult for the creator or whether it's easy.
As far as you observe it, yeah. We are not talking about God at his level. We are talking about what we observe in this world. We see that nothing seems to be taking time, being hard, difficulties as they come into existence. It's easy. But from my perspective, from my understanding.
So because his knowledge keeps up with his power, we understand that his knowledge is absolute. Is that what you're saying? Okay.
As well.
Okay.
Your question?
I was going to ask, how do we know he has unlimited knowledge if his power is manifested in limited quantity?
Did you not get somehow an answer as I was trying to?
A little bit.
A little bit. Okay. This is not your mistake. Don't worry about it. They're not your shortcomings, because we are very much used to saying that God is powerful, everything, etc., but without thinking. When we start thinking, every weak points or the gaps starts falling down. Yeah. How do we know that? Look at. I think somebody can explain this to me. Explain this better. Who would like?
I think she means the fact that it's manifested and we see it in limited qualities, limited quantity or whatever it is.
Yeah, quantity, limited quantity of beings.
Exactly.
We observe and experience. Yeah.
Exactly. But then, I mean, by observing, for example, one human being, which is limited, but then you understand that can be no limitation to the amount of human beings that can be created. From that, you understand that it can be absolute. So, I mean, you don't see you see one apple in your hand, but you know there could be an unlimited amount. You know there's almost billions in the world, and they're constantly coming into existence at every moment. That's how you can understand that it's absolute, right?
If one, I offer one, two, I know it's very good questions related to this point only. Excellent. The questions are very good questions. They are very good questions. I appreciate it. Keep your questions. Now, when we see one thing, it is coming into existence not like the way we are accustomed with. Have you seen the people are building, making something? The first floor, the second floor, the third floor. Before the third floor is complete in a third story building, you cannot put the roof, right? In the creation, there is no such thing. The first floor, the second floor, the foundations, the roof, and the windows, and the doors, and electric system, and water supply system is given existence at once. So we understand that there is no grade in the power of the creator of this universe. There is no grade. How do you say gradation? Gradation? No, there is no such word. I'm trying to.
I don't know what you're trying to say.
To grade, tedrij. Gradual existence. No, gradual. Yeah, we see that first root is made, and then trunk is made, and then branches are made, and then leaves are made, or flowers are made, and then fruit are made. No, every moment, the tree, however they are, given existence, full. How we understand this? You know, you hear this story that the fetus in the mother's womb, every moment is full. Every time. You know, you are full now, tomorrow you not first legs are made, and then trunk is made, and then shoulders are made, and then hands are made, and then head is made, and then no. They are at every stage, according to that stage, it is perfect. According to that stage. Only for the absolute. Another strange person is coming. Oh, good. Ramadan is over, alhamdulillah. She's here. So, every stage, only for the absolute, there is no grade. If there was a grade, we could never say that the origin of this existence is absolute, infinite. We can't. There is no grade. Everything is happening at the same time. One galaxy, two galaxies, three galaxies, one atom, two atom, three atom, easily, equally coming into existence simultaneously. Number doesn't make change. That's why the universe is so huge that any human being can get to the end. Now, I think, does somebody wanted to ask a question there? Oradan kal there.
I didn't have a question. I had a comment
Yeah.
to answer the sister's question. Like an example would be when I observe an apple and I realize that the apple cannot be the result of anything in this universe. I might think it is the result of the farmer, but the farmer as well was created, and the farmer's senses were created. So if I trace it back and if everything was created, the creator is not within this universe, because there's no element within this universe that created the apple, and hence that is what I define absolute as. Because I cannot define the creator, that is absolute.
Because why can't you not define the creator? Explain.
Because it's beyond the limitations of this universe, because he is absolute.
Because everything in this universe is given existence at the same time. I cannot attribute the existence of anything to anything else. I have to go beyond the limitations of the universe in order to explain the existence of the whole universe, as well as in order to explain the existence of every individual component of the universe at every level, and they are given existence at the same time. Right? Good. Before somebody, I think, I just, okay, go ahead, please. Please, go ahead.
I also had another comment. So I think one thing that a lot of us are all talking about is absolute power. But one of the things is like the absolute knowledge component that I think that you more had a question about. And if I'm wrong, I'm sorry. But one of the I graduated with a degree in biology, so I think like a biologist sometimes. And photosynthesis, for example, if you learn that like 6 sugars are produced when photosynthesis, when one photon of light hits a plant, 6 sugars are created out of that, and those are the elements of energy. And things that make me think of absolute knowledge is like, who in this world could have created, like who had the knowledge to create this thing, this light that would hit this plant that would create exact X amount of energy every time. And this is something that's limited knowledge that we eventually found out due to, advances in technology. But like the absolute knowledge is like someone had to know that, or something, the creator, someone had to know that before we ever found that out. And so like, what are all the things that we don't know that we could potentially find out that are exact and precise, that the answer is for me that the creator knows all of these exact numbers, all of the exact everything that goes into exactly everything that gets created.
With no limitations, exactly. No time binding anything, simultaneously, so absolutely. So it must be absolute. If it was limited, it wouldn't take everything at a time with no following the sequences. So the degradation, again, I would like to say degradation, am I making up? The graduality, at once, it doesn't exist. Everything exists at the same time. So
not step by step.
Not step by step. When you look at when you take a picture of the universe once, because we think that but the trees are growing, babies are growing, the universe is expanding, as if it is taking time. No, we are not talking about the creation within time linear. We are talking about an instant of existence, and when we examine it, every element there is given existence at once, simultaneously. From there to yeah.
I raised my hand before.
Raising my hand.
Somebody else before. Would you like to?
Yeah, I would like. So she said something about like absolute knowledge, but it's manifested and limited in the power that the absolute power that gets manifested is limited. So I was going back to part one of the discussion, which was last week when you showed the other verse, in which you spoke about how everything is with Allah and it's inexhaustible, but He lets it down in known measure. So, and then the fact that, and then something in that verse also touched upon how He knows, and we're talking about knowledge here. He knows, which is why He lets it down in known measure.
So how do we trace that? You spoke from God's perspective. Now from here, how do we trace the signs of this knowledge in this world that I can experience and conclude that this knowledge must be absolute? So we have to start from here. So how do we observe this world? And from the way that the universe is coming into existence, I understand that this type of coming into existence indicates that the source has absolute power, the source must have absolute knowledge.
Maybe, a good example would be, I have two hands, right? I can only pick up two things at the same time. Even if I had 1,000,000 hands, I could pick up 1,000,000 things at one time. But as soon as you have 1,000,001 things, I need a second try to pick it up, right? You're making the difference between a lot of knowledge and absolute knowledge. Because it's at the same time, it's absolute. There's no limitation. For example, the number of hands I can pick up anything at any moment.
Yeah.
At one time.
So we cannot say that God's knowledge is an ocean, mine is a drop. It is a very misconception idea. No. God's knowledge is absolute and you don't have any, but you have some manifestations of this knowledge, but you don't have any. It is not of the same kind. Because anything of the same kind of infinite must be infinite. So if it is not infinite, this sentence is important now, everybody. If something is not infinite, it is bound to be dependent. It means not self-subsisting. Do you understand this? Can't be self-subsisting or self-subsistent. If anything is not infinite, bound to be dependent, which means not self-subsistent. It means given existence. So the whole universe with its all components are being given existence instantly, simultaneously. What a huge, perfect universe. And we have to really prostrate now before the manifestation of this absolute power and knowledge as far as today's subject is concerned. Now,
okay. So you said that God's creation comes with ease and it's smooth. We can see it. Like there's no problem.
We observe it in this world.
Some people argue that, for example, birth defects show that creation is not that smooth.
Because now we have to understand now. For example, I am quite young, but some people think that I am old, and my eyes are not really properly able to see. Now, think about the existence of my not properly seeing or operating eyes. All right? Do you think in the way that my eyes are given existence demonstrates that the one who is causing my eyes to exist lacks the power, that's why he couldn't make it perfect? Or deliberately made it not perfect as we understand perfect, able to see, slightly not well operating, functioning. It is a deliberate action. For example, when we see, but why is the difference? There is no need to go into details. No, everybody must be. This is a very, very nice subject. I really love it that you are engaged. Yeah. Whatever we see. For example, I have two legs. when you look at it, do you think the one who gave me 2 legs, created me with 2 legs, didn't give me 4 because he couldn't make it? Is there any sign of lack of or impotence? Lack of power? Do you look at the universe? Look at the macrocosm, look at the microcosm. At every level, everything is brought into existence, demonstrates that the power is perfect, absolute. Everything is, for example, some trees are created, let's say, I don't know, 6 feet or 100 feet. Some trees are created 5 feet. Some plants are created 1 feet or maybe 1 inch. All right? This variation in the act of creation demonstrates the choice of the creator, not lack of his power. And there is no, not because we say that, no, God's power is absolute almost. Of course, our God must be absolute. No, no. We are looking at the creation. Whoever is making it, whatever is causing it to exist, not because he couldn't make it taller than I am, that's why I am small. No, I am meant to be as I am. From my creation, I understand, perfectly designed. But I may be given not 2 hands, but my hand, again, it is meant to be with my hand as far as the Creator is concerned. We cannot say that because Creator, you know, he created billions of galaxies, but, you know, he forgot to give 1 hand to this guy. He created them with 1 hand, not 2. There is no such, there is no such sign. That's a deliberate act of creation to have it with 1 hand, not 2. There are 1 million, at least 1 million different kinds of species in the world, animal species in the world. Every one of them has a special form given. One of them has 2 legs, the other has no legs, the other has 40 legs, and so one of them walks this way, some types walk this way, some types walk that way. They are all meant to be. Why? Because they are complete in their way of coming into existence. So those things, for example, a person has 1 hand, not another, for example. Not because of we understand that, not because of the lack of the power, because whatever the reason, we may not understand, but that is deliberately done. Deliberately created, that human beings are deliberately created to come to an age and die. I am getting old deliberately, not because my creator couldn't sustain my youth. I'm losing. No, I'm like this, deliberately chosen, decided. How do I know that? Because of the way I'm being given existence. There's no sign of lack of power. For example, some people are dying. Oh, you can say, oh, no, Creator cannot sustain the life of these people. But within the same universe, there are newly born babies. Oh, what's going on? He's able. He's doing it, demonstrating it. Deliberately, babies are given existence. Deliberately, old people are given existence. Deliberately, some people are given death. Deliberately. That's what we should understand. Everything is coming from infinite knowledge, coming from infinite knowledge through the manifestation of infinite power. That's what we observe in this world. And the verse says, knowledge is very important for you in order to understand the clear book. Kitab-ı Mubin. Everything is recorded in the Kitab-ı Mubin. Yeah.
Which is also the knowledge.
Sorry?
The clear book is also the knowledge.
The clear book?
Is also
No. We'll come there. We will. You have got a question. After your wife, you should abandon on for safety.
The reason why I had
She has used your right.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So it's not a question more than a comment. Because when we started talking about this infinite power thing, I also had some trouble understanding it because the universe that we see, the manifestation, is not infinite. So how can we conclude that the power is infinite? And the way that I, being an engineer, thought of it is definition of power is.
Are you an engineer?
Yes, supposedly.
I'm sorry. Okay.
I mean, the definition of power is how much energy it takes to do something over how much time it takes to do it. Even if the energy was limited, just because the time is nothing, it happens in nothing, means that it is divided by zero. It's infinite. And same thing with knowledge. Knowledge, there is a measure for it. It's information. What is information? It is the rate of change of data. And if the data in the world changes constantly, that means that it's infinite. The information is infinite.
Otherwise, and also constantly changing and simultaneously happening. Simultaneously happening, not gradually. From understand that, you know that the infinite divided by 2 is equal to what? Infinite. Any number doesn't matter. So quantity doesn't matter in the creation. So that's why everything is abundant, the Creator. They say, for example, although some people say it developed by itself, our nerve system, our blood circulation system, if you really follow them, every moment they are getting older and older and older, renewed, but perfectly designed at the same time. Not this, for example, starting from body, what do they do now? What we do usually, and we compare usually the act of creation to our action. That's what it confuses us. For if we want to make a wire system here, what do? You start wiring from the main entrance and then to the rooms, etc. So, following it. Even if you give the signals, although it is so fast, doesn't matter, still, I can call you now on the phone, not immediately you receive it. Takes even a fraction of a second afterwards. That's what we are used to, that we are accustomed with. That's why we can't really imagine absolute, because our ability doesn't allow us to imagine absolute. But at the same time, our ability allows us to acknowledge the existence of absolute. So don't try to comprehend the content of absolute. It is impossible. By definition also it is impossible. And it is not within our capacity. But at the same time, it is within our capacity to conclude that the source of existence of this universe must be absolute. It's limitless. I don't know what limit that is, but it is not limited. It is called negation. It's called negation. It's called what we say infinite. Infinite means not finite. I know finite. From this knowledge, I say the cause of existence of this universe cannot be finite. That's called tanzih in Arabic. Negation. It means the creator of this universe cannot be finite. If it was finite, wouldn't be able to make this universe as I observe it. So infinite means not finite. Absolute means not limited. not subject to any number or any space, time, whatever. That's why negation, we can only negate.
But here's another question. If the creator was finite,
Creatures,
if the creator was finite,
creator,
and he created a finite universe,
no.
and I'm just saying
Yeah,
if,
okay.
I'm not saying that happened.
Oh,
I'm
because
saying
it's logically inconsistent. That's
if
fine.
that
Yeah.
happened, that we have a finite creator, created a finite universe,
Hmm.
me being part of that finite universe, I'm also finite. Will I even be able to comprehend the infinity? Because for me, maybe the finite universe I'm living in is all there is. That's it.
No, but
I mean,
still,
there's no way
yeah.
I can. Maybe for me that's infinite.
No.
Because there's no way for me to comprehend.
Go from negation. Okay, but that is an logical exercise. I accept that. Go from our observation here in this world. What we see, the things are given existence with no limitation. Yeah, perfectly. We cannot go to reach the end of existence. We know that. Are we sure? But it doesn't mean that existence is infinite. The universe is infinite. We know that we are not able to get the end, because in end of the space-time, space-wise, time-wise, we cannot get to the end of existence.
For now.
Sorry?
For now.
Yeah, because our capacity is like this. We cannot. But it doesn't mean that the universe is infinite. We comprehend that it must be finite. Right? Everything. Because, now the point is here, everybody. Bismillah. Everybody, seriously. Now, point is here. Anything dependent is bound to be finite. Now, by definition, I don't have to go through the galaxies and how big, and then say, oh, millions are not enough. Billions of galaxies. Each galaxy has billions of stars or solar systems, their system. Doesn't matter. Yes, that is true, but it doesn't matter. They are dependent. Dependent
on each other.
But no, dependent. It means they cannot sustain their own existence. They need to be given existence. For me, I need to be given existence. The earth needs to be given existence. In order for me to explain their existence, they cannot. The cause of their own existence. Are you the cause of your own existence? Is this building the cause of its own existence? The tree is the cause of its own existence. It's illogical. They cannot be the cause of their own existence.
But Dr. You didn't answer the question I asked.
Was it a question?
Yeah, there was a question. If you're saying it seems to be perfect, the universe that we're living in seems to be perfect, and this is how you sort of also draw your conclusion in that something infinite must have created it because of how perfect it is, how harmony it is.
That's a mistake there, not because of it's perfect, because they are given existence. Simple, very simple. Perfection is my measurement.
Measurement for what?
But according to my understanding, according to the way I am accustomed to it, for example, if I see this man, how old are you? Let's say, for example, 40, 50, what? 20. So, how old are you? Let's say 20. It is early to have a gray hair. Man, according to my own measurement, because of my previous experience, otherwise, it doesn't make any judgment to the act of creation. But that's irrelevant. So what I have to do is, I have to say, there is one atom exists, right?
its existence is perfect.
That's my question. If I see its existence is perfect.
Existence is perfect, yeah.
Yes, but I'm limited, living in a limited world,
Mhm.
limited universe,
Mhm.
maybe coming from a limited creator.
Oh,
How will I know?
Is there all?
That's my.
No, cannot say.
My point is, how can I conclude that it is perfect existence when all that I know is, if I'm limited, something limited like me may look perfect.
No, no, no. It is just illogical. We
Why
have
is
to
it
look at
illogical?
yourself. Be careful. Be careful. You have to look your own existence and see your own existence or the existence of anything else. See, in order to be able to give existence to this object, what qualities are needed? Absolute qualities. Because your existence is dependent, so you have to explain your own existence by attributing it to something that can be the source of existence of that object. It cannot be dependent. If it is dependent, if it was dependent, it wouldn't be able to give existence to something which did not exist. It means bring into existence, bring into existence. So we are this kind of logic takes the existence of the things for granted and then give them a momentous that their existence is moving, as if I am moving a tire or a circular object, it is turning as if. But we cannot really think of existence in this term. Existence means something. Existence or existent means something needs something else to cause it exist.
To exist, what do you have to have?
Sorry?
To exist. Let's take the word exist.
Yeah.
What is existence?
Whatever you see, whatever you experience here, yourself or everything else.
You say it's life?
Everything. Sorry?
To have energy, right?
Whatever exists, energy exists, or atom exists, stone exists, your thought exists, your emotions exist, because we are experiencing them.
Emotions are feelings, right?
Well, they exist. They are existence. Yeah, or they're all everything, whatever it is, whatever you experience exists. When you realize that it exists, it is dependent in this world in order to exist. So I look at the human being, look for the reason of their being existent in this world that I can observe, because none of the objects of this universe is absolute. If it was absolute, I wouldn't be able to perceive it. There's something. None of the objects in this world is absolute. If it was absolute, I wouldn't be able to perceive it, because my capacity, my human capacity, cannot perceive absolute, and my mind understands that absolute by definition cannot be perceived. So if something is infinite, I cannot say that this is dependent on something else. Only infinite is independent. But it's logical conclusion. Only infinite does not need anything to depend on in order to exist, because it's infinite. Logic says this. Can we perceive infinite? No. But we can understand logically that infinite exists self-subsistently. That is logical conclusion. If I don't accept this, I contradict myself, human quality. Yeah.
Again, if I was, say there was a finite creator again, if there was a
Finite creature, creator.
and he had the ability to,
This is oxymoron.
I
No, you cannot use expression. Finite cannot be creator. If creator cannot be finite, oxymoron.
you have a machine, for example, that can make
It's not
some sort of.
creating. It is using the already existing material.
I'm just saying. Let me. Okay, tell me if the whole example makes no sense. But let me complete.
But the first phrase doesn't make sense. So afterwards, whatever you say will be based on false assumption.
Fine. If let's take the finite part out. If there was a creator that created me in a way that I can't see his or its imperfections.
Right? You can't? You can't.
Say there was a creator and he wanted to create human beings, and for
Again, wrong, because you cannot imagine the creator and he wants to create. It's impossible. To think in this way is wrong. It doesn't make sense. You cannot.
I'm thinking that way right now, so it does happen.
No,
I'm
it
thinking
is just
right now.
false imagination, baseless imagination.
Is it possible?
People can imagine that the things can exist by themselves, for example. But the reason cannot.
I didn't say. I'm saying, what if the creator is imperfect and he created me in a way not to see his imperfections?
What I am responsible for, I am responsible for my own qualities, to be honest with my own qualities, how I am made. I cannot imagine, which is not unimaginable. It is not observable, sorry. Which is not observable, it's unobservable. I am here to look at Tariq, yeah, to look at Tariq and say that how come it exists? That's my problem. So when I look at him, from the way it is given existence, because it is not giving existence, the Tariq himself is not giving existence to himself, as I am not giving existence to myself. That's my responsibility. Now I look at him and say, this person is dependent to exist. So this dependency requires my logic to look for the cause of existence. So the cause of existence of this person, in order to exist, whether he has two hands or one hand or doesn't have any hand, doesn't matter. In order to exist as an object, maybe a piece of stone, doesn't matter. In order to exist, it needs an independent cause of existence. Independent cause of existence means self-subsistent cause of existence. That's called in the language wajibul wujud. So self-subsistent. So self-subsistent means doesn't need logically, in order to explain its being, I should look for a cause of its existence. It's absolute. Finish. When I reach absolute, I say this is the cause of existence of this universe, must be logically, necessarily a self-subsistent, infinite being has given existence to this world. We don't know who he is, but he or it must be absolute. That's what we say, God is absolute. God, because it is God. We are not imagining, because we conclude that there must be a cause of existence. This cause of existence must have absolute qualities. Otherwise, it cannot be the cause of existence of anything in this world, because we said from the beginning today, existence means not existence. Creation means bringing something into existence without being in need of anything else. It means self-subsistently, self-subsistent, without needing anything. Self-sufficiently being able to give existence to. We cannot imagine absolute, that's why we cannot imagine the cause of existence of this universe, which is called God. We cannot imagine God, but we can comfortably understand that this universe needs a creator. For me, in order to explain the existence of this universe, for me, in order to explain the existence of this universe, I cannot imagine if there was another universe. If there was, I would be observing that one, and accordingly, I would come to a conclusion. Since there is no other universe, I am not responsible for it. I cannot go into imagination. My belief in the Creator, my confirmation in the Creator must of necessity be based on my observation. I cannot believe taken for granted. I cannot take belief for granted. God is blah, blah. I don't know. What I know, this universe needs an absolute creator, and this creator must have absolute power. This creator must have absolute knowledge, blah, blah. Absolute, absolute, absolute. Otherwise, he cannot be self-subsistent. If something is not self-subsistent and self-sufficient, cannot be the cause of existence of anything in this world. So, anybody?
I wanted to ask you something.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to say that for me, as far as I understand, your argument about the fact that there's something created and something
exists. Let me correct it like this.
There's creation.
No, I don't know. Something exists. Start from
exists.
there. Exists.
Okay.
Okay. So I will look for an explanation of this thing.
Right.
Then createdness. Later on, you will conclude if you can.
Right.
If you will. Okay.
Okay. So for it to be brought into existence,
yeah,
it requires a self-sustaining, self-sufficient source.
Do you understand this all? It requires for me. For me. It's not because it is written in the Quran or in the Bible. No, no. That's for me as a human being. Right. I cannot explain the existence of that object without attributing it to anything but self-subsistent, self-sufficient cause of existence, which can only be absolute.
All right, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
I'm not fine with you saying that because everything comes into existence at the same time, that is also an evidence that the creator or the source of existence is absolute. Because you can put a million machines, computer machines next to each other, they can do a million different things all at the same time. Because there could be something that brings a million things at the same time. It doesn't take time only because there are a million processes. Like you put a million,
not million, billion, trillion, doesn't matter.
And since the universe is not infinite, it's finite, there is a limitation to it. So what I can see is this creator this source of existence could have maybe created, I don't know how many processing CPUs or whatever you find in here or whatever, that create everything at the same time and create it again and again and again. I can't go from there to him being absolute. The only way that I can go from existence here to him being absolute is not looking at the totality of the universe, but looking at anything in the universe and not being able to find its source of existence in the universe. And by negation, the source has to be absolute, and also because he doesn't use any material to bring that into existence. I just don't know if I'm missing something.
You know why? The
point.
problem, this kind of reasoning has a false approach. Since once you conclude that there must be a creator, self-subsistent creator, and then start speculating on the self-subsistent creator. You cannot speculate anything else own self-subsistent creator. What you have to do, you have to say, this creator must be self-subsistent and come back to the universe. And look at the object. This source has demonstrated its qualities here by creating everything at the same time, instantly, simultaneously, with no difficulties that I can see. The universe exists. I cannot see that, oh, the one who is, the source is having a problem here. Couldn't complete that one, for example. No, everything is perfectly exists. Everything exists. I'm saying perfectly as far as their existence is concerned, because the perfection is a human production. So I say, oh, this universe is harmoniously working, so it's perfectly working. I say that's not wrong, but at the same time, as a result of my observation of existence, I can say that the creator lacks no quality. We have to be careful. The creator lacks no quality, or creator lacks nothing in its quality. That is perfection. But if you say the perfect something,
the world is harmonious. I can conclude from that the creator is very wise.
Sorry?
The creator is wise. I can conclude from that.
So
everything
from the
works
creation,
perfectly.
the creator must be
but
wise.
Wise and all that, but I cannot.
So this wisdom,
that he's absolute.
this wisdom was, if this wisdom was limited, wouldn't comprehend whole the universe at the same time with wisdom. So it must be again absolute.
It can.
Why?
Because the universe is limited.
Still we come to the same beginning, to the beginning again. No. All right. Let's change.
Can I just say one last sentence? The universe is limited. To comprehend the entirety of the universe, you require also limited knowledge. You don't have to have absolute knowledge to comprehend the whole universe.
How about power? Let's start from there. Maybe you may understand. How about power? If the power was limited, would this limited power be able to give existence to anything?
No.
So why not his knowledge? Well, look, because if the knowledge was limited, this universe wouldn't be able to exist as it is now, because it is coming into existence not a nonsense way, as far as I understand. Not a nonsense way, because it has its own wisdom in its own creation. So if the power is absolute, there is something absolute exists. If the absolute exists, its qualities must be absolute as well. Why? Because the existence is not taking only coming into existence and then adding some qualities to it. Existence is taking place within its all qualities at the same time, simultaneously. So the qualities must be also infinite. But somebody wanted to say something.
I was reminded of the example what we said before. If God's knowledge is not like the sea, because then we kind of give a limit to it. So if God's knowledge is infinite, then anything He creates is finite. Because if any of the creation was infinite, then in sense we would be like God. We would be infinite. So everything has to be finite, because God is infinite. Otherwise, we would be Him.
No, what you are saying is as a conclusion is correct, but we cannot, again, in principle, we will insist. We will insist on this. We cannot speculate on God. We conclude the one who gives existence to this universe, must be infinite. Otherwise, I cannot explain the existence of this universe. Not I cannot explain God. I don't know. I cannot explain the existence of this universe if I attribute this universe to a limited source. Doesn't make sense. Illogical. So if the source is absolute,
All his qualities are absolute.
must be absolute,
That's
because
fine.
the creation is like this. Because after the witnessing of creation. Yeah.
I mean, I was just gonna make the connection between, I guess, power and knowledge. The way I saw it was, I mean, when you mentioned it, because his power is absolute, his knowledge has to be absolute. I mean, the example that I thought of was, I know I have the ability to pick up 10 things at the same time, but then if I only know how to pick up 5 things at the same time, my power will be limited because of my knowledge. So, like, for example, one has to pick up this way, whatever it is. Even though I can pick up 10, I only know how to do 5 at the same time. My power will be limited by knowledge. If your power is absolute and you see it manifested, it has to mean the knowledge is absolute as well.
So, for example, I want to say this gradation or gradation. That this word must be in English. There must be a word for it. Any help?
Levels, intervals.
Yeah, great. For example, sorry, those natives. Yeah. Sorry. Excuse me. Let's finish. The time is passing. Yeah.
That it's brought into existence in sequence.
Yeah.
So it's sequential.
Sequential.
Yeah. In sequence.
Yeah.
Like human creation, when humans create, it's in sequence.
Okay. Thank you for explanation, but I am not. I don't really mean quite what you said. I mean this. For example, in my own experience, when I lift 10 kilo or 10 pounds of something, it's easy. It's easy. Okay. 20 becomes slightly different from it. 100 pounds, I have to try hard. 500 pounds, finish it. Look at the grades. Okay. You have one computer and the program is working. Add to 1, make it 10. It becomes more effective. Make it 1 million, even more effective. It is finite, because it is the quantity increases, and accordingly the result is increasing. If the quantity is decreases, and the result will be smaller, or what did you say? You said something.
Intervals. Levels of consciousness, like intervals.
Intervals.
Yeah.
You said. Okay. So when we look at the universe, in the way the things are coming into existence is not valued according to the quantity. You know, for example, the existence of this universe, okay, the existence of the galaxies. For example, let's say 5 galaxies, the things will be as it is. 100 galaxies, the things will be as it is. 1 million galaxies, the things will be as it is. So the number is not having any effect on the source. It means absolute. Because absolute, it means by adding any number, it doesn't expand its quality. Let's be logical now. Infinite plus 100 equals infinite. Infinite plus quadrillion equals infinite. You see, that didn't change. Either 100 or 1 million or quadrillion didn't add any quality to the infinite, which means infinite cannot be understood in a quantitative way. You can only understand it in a qualitative way, which means absolute is absolute, period. That's why we cannot comprehend it, because it's absolute. But we understand that must be the source of existence of anything here must be absolute. His knowledge also must be absolute. His quality is also absolute. Otherwise, as the number of the galaxies increases, the value of the galaxies must decrease, because the number is affecting or having an effect. The numbers are having an effect on something. It means it is not infinite. If you increase the number of the galaxies or atoms, if the quality of the existence doesn't change, it means the source is absolute. So logically we have to think about it. But be extremely careful. Never think of the matter on behalf of God. Don't start. If God's power is absolute, He could have done this universe not like this, but like this. He could have stopped the wars in this way or another way. He could have prevented the death or the, I don't know, transgressions in the world. It is all speculations. That's why today's discussion, today's class, is one of the main pillars of understanding divine determining. Although the time is up, but let's finish this verse by speaking about the clear book. There are two vocabularies in the Quran. One is Imam Mubin, the other one is Kitabul Mubin. Yeah. It's all right, but let's concentrate on it. I am sorry about the language. Those people who are familiar with the Quran, there are some of us. So we have to clarify our understanding of this vocabulary of the Quran. So Imam Mubin refers to sources, quality. They are coming from Imam Mubin. It means the creation is taking place within knowledge. Now, you cannot imagine that the things exist, but the source of existence of this thing didn't know what is going on. That is illogical. Yeah, that's illogical. For example, nature. You cannot attribute to nature knowledge. Yeah, because nature, if you forget about, or if you really cut off the relationship between the creator of this universe and the created things, creatures, so what remains? Only the creatures. So forget about the creator. There's no creator. I look at the creatures now. When you look at the creatures themselves, I cannot see any sign of knowledge or preference or choice coming from the object itself. For example, and take a speck here. I cannot see that this speck is the source of knowledge. Right? That is called Imam Mubin. It means this is called clear book, Imam Mubin, Kitab Mubin. Clear record, they say. Imam, record. It means everything I can see in this world is happening according to a record. It means knowledge. That's what the verse said. Knowledge, knowledge, knowledge. He knows, he knows, he knows, because everything is not recorded. Okay, but I'd say I am using Imam Mubin in another way. This recorded is an extra in the translation. There's no fi kitab mubin. Everything is in the clear book. So clear book refers to what we see. The book written. Yeah. What I see, the book is written here. But Imam Mubin, clear record, refers to, this is an allegory, metaphoric way of understanding it. clear record refers to, as far as I understand, the knowledge of the author. When I look at the book, are you tired? It's a very excellent subject. Are you tired? 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 Shall we stop?
We're all limited.
But limited, not 2 hours, man. You are young. So you have to concentrate. You have to be able to concentrate at the 3 hours.
Yeah, after 12 hours.
Work, yeah.
Waking.
Yeah. But if you like, we can, if you like, we can go back to the subject, because again, without understanding the difference between Kitab-ul-Mubin and Imam-ul-Mubin, you will never be able to understand divine determining. Impossible. If you say, no, I am very satisfied, I swear by God, it is just a farce, baseless claim. So the book is in front of me. It has a page. There are traces of ink, and I can decipher it and read it. That is this one, clear book. Here, what I am seeing, it refers to the universe. Now, when you read it, you get a meaning. You conclude about something. Oh, it means this. It is saying that, etc. In reality, are you?
The building's going to close at 9 o'clock.
Ah, okay. Just let's conclude this. Thank you for reminding us. Thank you. Okay, we have to be very quick. In reality, when I extract the meaning, understand the meaning, in reality, I understand the meaning as much as I can, which exists in the mind of the author. Do you understand that? In the mind of the author. Now, the paper doesn't have the quality to be the source of knowledge. Did you get this? So when you look at the universe, whatever the quality is that you grasp from the universe, what extract from the universe, in reality you are really, according to your capacity, as much as you can, maybe right, maybe wrong, but according to your capacity, whatever you have got, it's from the source of existence of this universe. That's called Imam-Mubin. This is not clear. It needs time, and we have to stop here. We can talk about Imam-Mubin and Kitab-Mubin, the clear book and clear record, next Wednesday, because it is essential. We have to make it clear. So slowly you will understand that, the divine determining is based on this kind of pillars. If you don't have these pillars, you cannot understand divine determining. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim. Wa akhiru da'wahum alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Al-Fatiha. So, inshallah, next Wednesday, we will talk about this, because it is not very well established. What we will do, we will